Did you know that every single day a male produces 200 to 300 million sperm? Spermatogenesis is the name of the process of making sperm, and it's going to be a specialized version of meiosis, what we just finished talking about in the last lecture video. The difference is that meiosis is going to occur a little bit differently if we're talking about the formation of an egg cell versus the formation of a sperm cell. So this video is going to focus on what happens in meiosis to generate 4 mature sperm cells. Now, remember that the testes is the male reproductive organ. So these are going to be the organs that are going to be used or where sperm production is going to occur. And a testes has all of these tiny little tubules in them called the seminiferous tubules. This is where sperm and the meiosis process is going to occur. And then remember that we have this structure here called the epididymis. This is where the immature sperm cells that are made at the end of meiosis are going to end up maturing into mature sperm cells, ones that can actually participate in the process of meiosis. So if we kind of take a seminiferous tubule here and we look at a cross section of it, the seminiferous tubules have this lumen in it, or this cavity, this opening, and then it's surrounded by the wall. The wall is going to be where this activity is going to start to take place. So within the wall of the seminiferous tubules, there are these primary germ cells. So these are going to be diploid cells. They have a full amount of chromosomes in it. So there would be 46 chromosomes, each with 2 chromatid in it. And then they're going to go through a process as they go through the wall that's going to various stages of immature cells until we get to an immature sperm cell. So on the outside of the wall, there's always going to be our primary germ cells, or our diploid cells. And then as we move towards the lumen, so as we move towards the inside of the seminiferous tubules, that's when we're going to end up getting the immature sperm and sperm cells being made. There are 2 general phases of spermatogenesis. Spermatocytogenesis, which is going to be going from a germ cell to 4 immature cells, sperm cells, and these are called spermatids. So we'll go from a 2N cell to a 4 1N cells, and that's going to just be the process of meiosis. And then spermiogenesis doesn't involve any cell division, so no meiosis, but it's going to be the process of maturation and differentiation, where those spermatids then will grow into or become mature sperm cells. This process is going to occur in the epididymis. This process is going to occur in the testes. So here's kind of how this works. We are going to start with the primary germ cell, which is known as a primary spermatogonia. So again, here's the wall. So this is going to be looking closest to the wall. Here's the spermatogonium. This in here would be then towards the lumen. Primary spermatogonia are going to produce 2 types of cells. There is a type A cell, which is going to be found in the walls of the seminiferous tubules and will continue to go through the process of mitosis to make spermatogonium. So that's kind of these cells right here. So this is going to go through the process of mitosis, so replication, making new daughter cells. One of the daughter cells will end up just kind of going back up and repeating this so that there's this constant supply of spermatogonium. The other cell is going to end up coming down and forming what is called a primary spermatocyte. This primary spermatocyte is also going to reproduce, go through the cell cycle and the processes of mitosis to produce more of these cells. The primary spermatocytes are then going to go through meiosis 1, so the first stage of meiosis, and they're going to produce 2 cells that are called secondary spermatocytes. So remember from the last lecture video, this is going to go through prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1, and form 2 cells, each with 1 copy of the chromosomes in it. But each chromosome will have 2 chromatids. They are haploid cells. These cells are then going to go through meiosis 2, and they're going to end up forming 4 immature sperm cells that are called spermatid, and those are going to be located right here. So we go from a spermatogonian, actually we go from a germ cell to spermatogonium, to primary spermatocyte, to secondary spermatocyte after meiosis 1, and then spermatid after meiosis 2. If you notice, there are these other cells in here called Sertoli cells, and these cells are going to help provide all of the nourishment that these cells, these spermatocytes and spermatid, need in order to have the energy to continue this process. Now, once these spermatids are formed, they'll go into the epididymis, where they will go through sperm cell maturation. So looking at the timing of all of this, so the spermatocytogenesis typically takes about 15 to 17 days. Meiosis 1 and meiosis 2 combined are going to take another 15 to 17 days. And then the process of going from a spermatid to a mature spermatozoa is going to take another 15 to 17 days. So in roughly about a month and a half, you go through this process of sperm production. But it's constantly going on over and over and over again. When ejaculation occurs, basically the man releases millions and millions of these sperms in the hope that one of them will be able to reach it, to make it physically actually get to the egg. It's not a pretty process. It's kind of like survivor of the fittest, like which sperm is actually going to survive to get to the egg. And even once it gets to the egg cell or the mature oocyte, it's got to have very specific conditions in order to actually be allowed to enter in. So these are the different stages involved in spermatogenesis. It is a specialized version of meiosis. The next video is going to look at oogenesis and what happens in the development of the egg. And even though there are some very similar aspects to this process, I mean, it is a version of meiosis, there are some very significant differences that will be discussed in that particular video.